And now the FBI cuts ties with the ADL amid conservative backlash.
So in other words, you're too filthy for the FBI?
Mm-hmm.
Can you imagine? Like, that's just insane, right? Like, you're too corrupt for the corruptest organization. Like, yeah.
Most corrupt.
I mean, it's insane.
FBI Director Kash Patel announces break with anti-Semitism watchdog amid outrage over description of Charlie Kirk. The top law enforcement agency in the U.S. has cut ties with the ADL, accusing the Jewish advocacy organization and anti-Semitism watchdog of spying on conservatives.
However, they don't mind if they spy on other people.
Sure.
You can spy on other people, but not on conservatives.
But don't spy on the spy. Don't spy on the spiers. Does that work?
Basically, it's like you went against your own.
Yeah, you can't do that. Not allowed.
No.
FBI Director Kash Patel made the announcement on Wednesday after prominent conservative influencers, including Elon Musk, pounced on the ADL's inclusion of the murdered right-wing activist Charlie Kirk in its glossary of extremism and hate. Probably went about doing that a little too soon, wouldn't you say, Jen? Think they might have rushed that one. It was
I mean, look, I find it. It's all falling apart. You know, it's like there's so many unbelievable, like, I guess what you would say, coalitions in so many different directions that the enemies are the enemies are the enemies. Like, it's all imploding on itself now. They can't keep, they've made everybody enemies, so they're enemies of their enemies. So there's no order to it. It's just completely imploding.
Now it gets even more interesting because apparently, according to the FBI, former Director Comey had written love letters to the ADL and embedded agents within the group, which he accused of running disgraceful ops spying on Americans. Oh, now you care about Americans being spied on. Yeah, we knew that was going on. But now you messed with Jen. How long before Charlie Kirk is made a saint?
I thought he already was.
With the way they're treating him, yes, he's clearly the saint.
I mean, I have so many thoughts about all of that, but yeah.
In a 2014 speech to the ADL's National Leadership Summit, Comey said the FBI had made the advocacy group's law enforcement and society training mandatory for personnel and partnered with it to draft a hate crimes training manual. Comey called the ADL's experience in investigating hate crimes essential and its training eye-opening and insightful. Of course he did. While Patel did not mention Kirk in his statement, his announcement came just a day after the ADL removed more than 1,000 entries about alleged extremism from its website amid right-wing outrage over references to the late activist. The ADL said it made the decision as many of the terms were outdated and a number of entries had intentionally been misrepresented and misused. Now, what that means, ladies and gentlemen, is that they stepped in it big time, and what they thought was going to be a tremendous cash cow for their operation is now being severed. And what's one to do when they don't have all of that nonprofit money being facilitated to their organization? It is proof positive that the Israel lobby, of which the ADL is directly connected, is losing their stroke, even amongst people that one would perceive to be extreme in political discourse. You want to shit on Charlie Kirk? Understand the consequences that will come. He's one of the bad ones. There's no question about it. In a since-deleted entry on Kirk and his youth organization, Turning Point USA, the ADL said Kirk promoted Christian nationalism, true, and numerous conspiracy theories about election fraud. Election fraud is not a conspiracy theory. And COVID-19, again, COVID-19 is not a conspiracy theory, and has demonized the transgender community. That's probably true. The entry also said TPUSA attracted racists, that representatives had made bigoted remarks about minorities and the LGBTQ community, and the white nationalists had attended its events, even though the group says it rejects white supremacist ideology. Kirk himself strongly criticized the ADL while he was alive, once describing it as a hate group that dones of a religious mass to justify stoking hatred of the left's enemies.
It's true. That's some truth right there. The ADL may have at some point started out against, it wasn't supposed to just be anti-Semitism, it's defamation. So it was hate to begin with, you know, but then it for decades, I mean, basically my whole life, it's just been a shill for Israel.
Imagine doing this 2 weeks after he's killed. They suck, pure and simple. And just remember, the ADL is the organization that people like Bill Ackman were using on the chessboard to go after students protesting against Free Palestine. The ADL says that all of these students are anti-Semitic, but really just anti-Jew, because again, anti-Semitic is a oxymoron. If you actually know the meaning of what a Semitic person really is, it's not the people that are being referenced here. They're the furthest thing from Semitic. Point being, everything was a means to an end. And eventually they stepped in shit that they can't get themselves out of. And now that you have the America First movement telling you to go fuck yourself, now you really are in a lot of trouble. They most certainly did. 1000%.
You know what? Bye-bye. Like, don't let the door hit you or the good Lord split you. That's how I feel about the ADL. Bye-bye.
In a statement responding to Patel's remarks on Wednesday, the ADL said it had deep respect for the FBI and all, of course you do, and all law enforcement officers who work to protect Americans regardless of their ancestry, religion, ethnicity, faith, and political affiliation. In light of an unprecedented surge of anti-Semitism, we remain more committed than ever to our core purpose to protect the Jewish people. That's actually not what the ADL is supposed to be.
No, it's supposed to be anti-defamation.
Correct. But we all know it's evolved into this shitbag Zionazi organization led by a bald-headed jabroni who you cannot tell the difference between him and Stephen Miller if you stood them side by side.
I know, right?
Yeah.
Are they ever in the same place at the same time?
I can't verify that that's ever been the case.